I'm tired of seeing people complaining about vibe coding or even agentic coding or overall using AI to build apps, since most of these complaints inside of LinkedIn or X say that it's not really possible to build an entire production level ready product. Where in reality, as you'll see through the video, it's totally possible. It's just not as easy as some influencers put out to be. But with the right guidance, you should be able to instruct Claude Code, Codex, or whichever coding agent out there to build an app similar to this one or even like much better. While editing the video, I realized I didn't add a bunch of information that would be pretty useful for whoever is curious about building a project like this, such as the time I took to build it, or even the overall costs I had. Since it's a bunch of specific informations, I'll leave them all down in the description of the video. Enough talking, let's actually see what this app does. So basically, I needed to build something for myself that helped me track my competitors. For example, I could click on Add Competitor, go to Next.js channel, let me get the link for his channel and paste it in here. As soon as I hit Add Channel, it should then be fetched, and now down in Trend Tracker, if I refresh this page, it should now be able to fetch his recent videos, so 30 new videos added. And since the focus is on trending videos, I'm just searching for 3 months worth of videos created. If I now select videos, click on 7 days, let's order this through outlier score, and now I should be able to see all of the videos that were actual outliers. Now, I do have the vidIQ app where I can track these outliers just by going over to a channel. But what if I want to keep up with all of the channels, all of my competitors? Not only that, but what if I wanted to see the all-time outlier score just to get a reference of what type of thumbnail or title works? And finally, with all this data, I can have a page specific for analytics. This page basically lets me have an overall view of what's going on with the specific niche. So for example, in 1 month, 164 videos were posted. The total views is down from the past month, so probably a bit of saturation, as well as the average views posted per day went up. Aside from that, I can also see which is the best day of the week that I should be posting in, or which is the worst that receives the least amount of views. I also placed this interesting chart here where you can track per day. So in this day, there was just 2 videos posted, but these 2 videos summed up the day with most average views. Maybe because since there weren't enough videos, YouTube was always recommending Nate Herc's video for the overall audience. And by the way, I didn't mention this before just because I wanted to show off the features, but this is an actual app that more people can use. For each one of your channels, you can create a different workspace. And each workspace should have its own analytics, its own competitors, and much more. Now, I just showed probably 20% of the app. Until this point, it's a bit basic. When you get to projects, things get a bit trickier because here you can click on new projects. I can select a specific video. So let's select this one, new Google anti-gravity skills. After I select that, what's happening right now is the app is setting up a studio. Seems like it's done. Let's select that. And here it is. If I click on Add Task, I can select YouTube. Now it uses AI to create title suggestions, description, and thumbnail titles. There's honestly so much that I overthought building this. It wouldn't be wise for me to go through everything here, but basically you can talk through and have like more suggestions. For example, get me 5 more suggestions for titles. So now it updates up here, but it also saves these suggestions. If I want it to every single time provide me 10 suggestions instead of 5, I can just tell it, always do that, please. So now the YouTube prompt is updated. This is similar to skills. It's like if I were to ask Claude Code, hey, add to the skill that it should always provide this or that. It adds that to the skill. And then now the next time I have a new project and I create a new video, it will then provide 10 title suggestions. Damn, you might have seen that I keep looking up during the video, but that's because my camera is above my Mac, but I'm not using it. I'm using the camera from the Mac, and I just end up forgetting it all the time. So, okay, we have a nice interface for managing suggestions for YouTube, but we can also add different tasks. So X post, if I select that, now you should see the interface a bit different. What it does here is just grab all my transcription, similar to what it did to YouTube, but instead of creating content for YouTube, the description, the title suggestions and all, it creates a X post. I can also create a LinkedIn post, a blog post. It will all work mainly the same way. So this is how the LinkedIn post would look like. And as soon as you're done with that, you could just click on posted. This will be tagged as completed. I can select posted for all of them. And then up here, it'll be 100%. This way, when I go over to project, I can see that I took the most out of that transcription, because the whole idea with a talking head video is that there's a lot of value in whatever I'm talking here. I mean, hopefully, and I can use that value and convert it over to an actual post. This should keep my same tone and overall what I'm talking about, so that the post isn't just a generic ChatGPT text. Inside of settings, there's a prompt page where I allow people to select their own voice and style. This is a prompt, but ideally I'm aiming towards having this be more automatic. So for example, I can click on generate with AI, select 3 different videos. I think it's 3. Oh yeah, it's up to 5. So I can select like these 5 videos, hit generate. It will look at the transcription of all of these videos, understand how I talk, and then guide the AI to always write the way that I talk inside of the talking head videos. As for each platform like YouTube, X, LinkedIn, all those that you saw before while creating a task, you can define a specific prompt for them, just in case you want. Like, for example, the 10 title suggestions, this is where the AI altered so that every time this is created with 10. If I want it just 5, I can alter this manually, hit save, and for the next projects, 5 titles will now be created. Now, the moment where I agree with people that say you can't vibe code an app like this is because of the easy vibe coding aspect, where you could code all this with a single prompt, or you won't need to make decisions. And that's where people get it wrong. So for example, there's scopes from the YouTube API. And depending on the scope you want to use, you'll end up wasting a lot of quotas. Most vibe coders don't even know what quotas are, and that would completely invalidate their app. The same thing is with scalability. It's absolutely necessary for you to build the app already thinking that you might have 100 users in a week from now, or 1,000 users. What happens to your app if it suddenly has 10,000 users? Especially when you have something for free, you have to account that those features, the database lookups, have their own complexity. And since you're the person building this, it's up to you to make those decisions. Maybe you don't need to add a specific API because you can use another API to get the same data. I mean, agentic coders will understand what I mean. And throughout the channel, I've tried to show many of those decisions. So I won't really get into details just to not get completely off topic as I'm already doing. Just as an example, PostHog, I have never really used it intensively. So I asked Claude to create this markdown file for me. What this markdown file has is all of the links of the dashboards that were created inside of PostHog. This one, for example, is an acquisition and activation. This should track all of the signups. And by the way, I didn't really launch the app yet, so there's actually no signup. This is probably me just testing it. And by the way, I should post some coupons in the description of this video just so you can test it out for free, in the condition that you give me a feedback. So down in revenue and subscription, I also have this page inside of PostHog that should help me with subscription health, upgrade funnels, token limits, and much more. Aside from that, specific to token wastes, just to not use up all of the free features from PostHog, I track everything that was generated right here from the dashboard. This is obviously accessible just as an administrator, but it helps me understand overall which were the costs for each LLM usage. Okay, finally, let's get over to the dashboard. So this dashboard basically gathers everything and creates a nice summary so that I can understand what is going on. This is the full analysis generated by AI. So here I can understand specific title patterns that I don't really copy, but should start doing. I understand recommendations. They have a nice label. This is, I've created all this, but just instructing Claude. So just by looking at it and like just the feel of how it should be better. Finally, through Resend, I sent out an email every 2 days for the user with this exact analysis. So they get everything in their email and never really have to open Prepostr, unless of course they want to add a new competitor, see further analytics and any other feature. All right, I really hope that didn't feel salesy, as the idea here is just to show off all of the features to really explain this can be built with AI. You can just guide it. You don't have to actively code anything anymore. But that doesn't mean you don't need to know the concepts. That does not mean you don't need to make decisions and understand your decisions. So this is the stack that I'm used to. And because of that, I already know what to expect and how each thing connects with each other. Some things like PostHog I didn't really use before, but it's a matter of asking AI how does this work? When is this going to be triggered? You really need to be in control of your app and understand how each thing works. It's not just, oh, I don't need to code, so I don't need to pay attention. I can create an app just by typing random instructions. So all was built with Claude Code, except for the template. Arguably, you don't need to use a template. I just really like to have a consistent design. And because of that, I purchased this template. So I think it's around $80. Yeah, it's $80 for the pro subscription where you get that template. But that's pretty much all my expense aside from the domain that was like $10 and the VPS with Hostinger that I pay around, I believe it's $15 every month. But as for the coding agent, it was absolutely entirely Claude Code. No Codex, no Gemini, no Cursor, no anything beyond Claude Code. It was mostly built using Opus 4.6. Only now in the last few days, I've used Opus 4.7, didn't manually add a single code, and the stack was this one. So Next.js is the core framework, then Prisma as the ORM, Postgres for the database, Redis for cache. And here's the problem with vibe coders. If you just tell AI, I want to use cache, maybe it'll understand it's using Next.js and use the Next.js caching. Maybe it'll just cache on the front end. How exactly do you want this cache to be managed? For my example, I had specific needs that only Redis performed better instead of the Next.js cache, but a bunch of cache is also using Next.js. So you still need to understand all that. Shadcn, as I said, I'm also using the template, OpenRouter for all of the LLM calls, PostHog, like I mentioned earlier, Stripe for payments, Resend for emails, Google authentication since people can authenticate with their Gmail accounts, and Easypanel for the infrastructure. Let me show you the Easypanel, by the way. It's as simple as this. I have 4 services. Prepostr, so this is the main Next.js app. I have Postgres, Redis, Chronicle. Chronicle is for the crons. So every time I want to schedule the email, for example, I hit a specific endpoint. That endpoint, when triggered, creates the AI analysis and sends it off to the user. This is just reading from GitHub and having it deployed. Can't get as simple as this. I also added a blog page. All this content is produced using Claude Code. It's honestly just for me to test how GEO and SEO are looking like on a fresh new website. And just in case you're as curious as I was, it kind of sucks. And you really need to get people to go to your website in some other way. For my example, what I do is create a new YouTube channel targeting people that produce talking head videos. And I'm not looking at the right camera again. And then honestly, the YouTube algorithm should do a much better job at getting the video out to more people. And from the video, people would get inside of the website. Those visits would validate that website and Google would start ranking it more and more. But just having a plain blog posted like this really doesn't do much. I mean, honestly, I could be wrong and there might be someone out there that successfully got ranked on Google fast and without having to lean on a different platform. And if you're that person, please let me know in the comment section. All right, I hope that with this video, you're more inspired, or at least now you believe that you can build a more complex app and that you can get it to production. I might have some scaling issues, but I mean, that's the whole part of it. Even when I was manually coding everything, I did have the same issues, but it should be much faster now to iterate and solve those issues using Claude Code or any other coding agent. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then.